Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the July 13th, 2026 council meeting. Roll call, please.
Brewster.
Here.
Walters.
Here.
Barton.
Here.
Stewart. Here. Colville. Here. Parton. Here. Myers.
Here.
Thompson.
Here.
I don't see Pastor John Meadows. Councilman Morton, do you lead us in invocation?
Father, we just thank you for this evening, Lord, all this stuff that we're going to go over and talk about. Father, we just pray that you keep your hand upon us. Lord, we thank you for your protective hand upon our community, all of our staff and city employees, all of our people that are in our community. Lord, we just thank you for making this a blessed and place to live. Lord, we ask these things in your precious name. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so we have a couple special order of business tonight. First, we have the recognition of Tracy Roniker. He completed the WSU Mini MPA program. So, if you'd like to come on up to the podium, I know, go ahead. Could you go ahead and say your name and where you're from?
Absolutely. Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, council members. My name is Stephanie Newbold. I am the director of the Hugo Wall School of Public Affairs at Wichita State. And our fantastic sergeant here has completed successfully the Mini MPA program, which is a 16-week professional development seminar in which professionals in local government and nonprofits come from across the state of Kansas. They get to network and know one another and really get to learn about the specifics and the key trends, the key ideas affecting public administration today. And it gives you a great opportunity to really advance your professionalism and find ways to serve our public and our citizens in more comprehensive ways. So Sergeant, I am so incredibly proud of you.
Thank you very
and
much.
thank you so very much for your service to Haysville and to the state of Kansas.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm very, very, very proud of this, and I just want to thank my family, because without them, I could do all this. So I want to give them the props. So thank you very much.
I know the mini MPA program is a great program. I went through it in 2012. It was 16 weeks every Friday. So
Yes.
It's definitely a great program. I know it's coming up again in January through May, correct?
Yes.
All right, and thank you for coming, and congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, next we have item B, proclamation establishing August 7th as Purple Heart Day. This is a mayoral proclamation. Whereas Purple Heart is the oldest American military decoration and was created as a badge of military merit, made of the purple cloth in the shape of a heart with the word merit sewn upon it. On August 7th, 1782, in Newburgh, New York, by General George Washington, then reestablished as the Purple Heart on February 22nd, 1932, by General Douglas MacArthur. And whereas the heritage it represents is sacred to those who know the price paid to wear the Purple Heart. Whereas the city of Haysville, Kansas, and our community have a great admiration and the utmost gratitude for all the men and women who have and are selflessly serving their country and its community in the armed forces. And whereas veterans have paid the high price of freedom by leaving their families and communities and placing themselves in harm's way for the good of all. And whereas the contributions and sacrifices of men and women who serve the armed forces have been vital in maintaining the freedoms and way of life enjoyed by our citizens. And whereas many men and women in uniform have given their lives while serving in the armed forces, and whereas citizens of our country have received the Purple Heart Medal as a result of being wounded while engaged in combat with an enemy force, instructed as singular meritorious act of essential service. And whereas the city of Haysville seeks to remember and recognize veterans who are recipients of the Purple Heart Medal. Therefore, I, Mayor Russ Kessler, proclaim the city of Haysville, Kansas to be a Purple Heart city, honoring the service and sacrifice of our nation's men and women in uniform, wounded or killed by the enemy while serving to protect our freedoms. Dated this 13th day of July, 2026. And next we have a proclamation of July as Parks and Recreation Month. Designation of July as Parks and Recreation Month. Whereas parks and recreation programs are an integral part of communities throughout this country, including Haysville, Kansas. And whereas our parks and recreation are vitally important to establishing and maintaining the quality of life in our communities, ensuring the health of all citizens, and contributing to the economic and environmental well-being of the community and region. And whereas parks and recreation programs build healthy, active communities that aid in the prevention of chronic disease, provide therapeutic recreation services for those who are mentally or physically disabled, and also improve the mental and emotional health of all citizens. And whereas parks and recreation programs increase a community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of the local tax base, increased tourism, the attraction and retention of businesses, and crime reduction. And whereas parks and recreation areas are fundamental to the environmental well-being of our community. And whereas parks and natural recreation area improve water quality, protect groundwater, prevent flooding, improve the quality of the air we breathe, provide vegetative buffers to development, and produce habitat for wildlife. And whereas our parks and natural recreation areas ensure the ecological beauty of our community and provide a place for children and adults to connect with nature and recreate outdoors. And whereas the U.S. House of Representatives has designated July as Parks and Recreation Month. Whereas the city of Haysville recognizes the benefits derived from parks and recreation resources. Now therefore be it resolved by Mayor Russ Kessler that July is recognized as Park and Recreation Month in the city of Haysville, Kansas. So on those two proclamations, I know we have some Purple Heart recipients in our community. And so just a couple of years ago, we designated our city as a Purple Heart city. So proud that we were able to do that. And Parks and Rec, I know Rob's always very busy over there in Parks and Rec, and this is a busy month for them, going to different pop-up parks. A lot of great things happening there. All right, next we have presentation and approval of minutes. Minutes of June 8th, 2026. Councilperson Barton.
Make a motion, we accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
We have a motion on second to approve the minutes of June 8th, 2026 as presented. Any discussion? Question, please.
Brewster.
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Barton.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Collier. Yes. Barton.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Okay, item 1, public comment. So we have a lot of people out there that's gonna speak, or I have a couple cards. I just wanna kind of gauge on how many people wanna speak. If you do plan on speaking, could you raise your hand, please? About 4, okay. All right, let's see. So the first one, Megan Hackney, she's not here tonight. She wanted to make a proposal, but she is going to postpone it for right now. So our next speaker will be Tommy Wicker. So there's only 4 people speaking, so we'll have 5 minutes per speaker. So Angie has a countdown, so she'll raise the sign up and you get down to 1 minute.
Thanks. I think it's apropos that I'm speaking on Parks and Recreation Month today. Mayor and City Council members, my name is Tommy Wicker. My family has called 6415 South Sunnyside home for nearly 20 years. I'm here in regards to 6401 South Sunnyside, formerly Sunflower Park. When we purchased our home, we did so because of the neighborhood it represented. It was quiet, low-density community where families could enjoy space, privacy, slower pace of life outside the city. We invested our savings, our time, nearly 2 decades of our lives here because we believed in the character of this neighborhood would continue. When my neighbors and I became involved, this property was first proposed for a fourplex. It sold to City Park. We were asking the city to preserve the low-density character that had existed for years, that had influenced our decision to make this our home. Planning and zoning agreed after hearing our concerns, nearby residents, of increased traffic, activity, and the quiet nature of the narrow one-way street. The proposal remained limited to single family. While I was disappointed that the property would no longer remain open space because it reflected the character of the neighborhood. The property owner was later allowed to divide the parcel into 2 narrow lots, each approved for single-family homes. Today, however, that situation has changed. The city has repeatedly stated that these permits are for single-family homes. Yet, we've also been told that Senate Bill 418 could allow these same homes to become duplexes because of the broad language contained in that statute. I've also been told directly by the surveyor working on the property that they intend this project to be duplexes. Adding to the uncertainty, the city's own internal emails acknowledge that municipalities across Kansas are interpreting SB 418 differently, and that Haysville is now evaluating whether duplexes should continue to require zoning classifications already established in the city's code. I have word directly from Wichita and county members of zoning and planning that they have no intention of changing established zoning. That leaves residents like me wondering whether the protections we relied upon purchasing our homes still have meaning. I'm not asking the city to deny lawful rights. I'm asking the city council to honor the purpose of the planning process and the expectations it created for our families when we purchased our home nearly 20 years ago. The understanding the surrounding neighborhood would remain quiet, low density. Public process demonstrated that a different use was appropriate. We participated in that process, and the city had agreed that the property should remain single family. I respectfully ask you to ensure that decision is not effectively undone through uncertain interpretations of SB 418 before the city is fully determined how the law should be applied. Thank you for your time. I'm hopeful you're considering the concerns of residents who've proudly called this neighborhood home for many years. Do you have any questions?
Councilman Myers?
Thank you for your time. Thank you for coming in today. So I think that there is a little bit of, I guess, miscommunication here. So I did read the message from the mayor, and in that he stated that with the passage of a Kansas State bill by Right Housing Development Act in April, that the passage of this bill would allow the property or the ability to build 2 duplexes on that property after July 1st. But after speaking with Tony here, with the permits that are pulled, and that this was also stated in that it is just going to be 2 single-family homes. There are still concerns with higher density on the single-lane road. The one thing that we could possibly entertain would be to widen the road to 2 lanes. I think the issue with that is it would cost ballpark a couple $100,000, several $100,000. So that's that's a pretty hefty price tag to pay. And it would only be Sunnyside because of the pool at the end. I guess that we really couldn't. It would be a hard to add that second lane where that pool is. So with that, I mean, I don't. We could have the council, have city staff look more into that and see if we can have the feasibility of it. But I think ultimately it's going to be hundreds of thousands of dollars, and for especially considering that it's not quadruplexes, it's going to be duplexes. It'll be, or there'll be single. I'm sorry, it's not going to be single duplexes. It'll be single homes. It's going to be 18 homes on a one-way road, which I mean is within specs for. Not that there is a spec for a one-way road, but I mean it's at the lower end of the amount of houses for a narrow road to be allowed, basically, right? With approval from planning. But I mean that would be the only entertainment, not motion, but any opportunity to try to correct this would be to widen the road, and I don't know if anybody else in council would think that would be a worthwhile effort, or if it would just be out of a reasonable price at estimated hundreds of thousands of dollars.
It's as we discussed before, and Mr. Amos has been down here and explained his position too.
Yeah.
He'll allow you to have that property, but you have to hook him up to city sewer.
Yeah.
That's his deal.
And from talking to Tony, that is a possibility, but again, it would be a lot of infrastructure. It'd be, it's the option of, do you want to do that, or approve a whole new development with 50 houses or 100 houses for about probably the same price for the roads and improvements, because, redoing work is a lot more expensive than new work, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean, surely you guys also understand that much density on the end of that block that is one way means the traffic's not gonna remain one way,
And
whether you like
sadly,
it or not.
sadly, I mean, when it comes to minimum lot sizes, our hands are tied right now. With the new SB 418, they can go down to it's 3,000 or 4,000 square feet per lot. These homes are still on a 7,000 square foot lot each. So I mean that they do have a yard. They're not bringing it all the way down to the minimums. I'll agree it is congesting a road that wasn't as congested before. It's going to be a little bit more congested. I don't know. Yeah. So I mean that's about as much as I can put on that. It would be the potential to widen the road, and then I don't think it's going to be feasible. Is
Yeah,
really
I
the
mean,
answer to that.
as for my sentiment, and the neighbors echoed as well,
Yeah.
I mean, this is a pretty short-sighted development in this property, and it's deeply saddening to all of us that surround that space that it's not a park anymore.
Yeah. And I don't think the council wanted it to be, overdeveloped either. I know the council didn't want it to be overdeveloped either. So take that into consideration that, they did unanimously vote down quadruplexes, and they just went with duplexes. So, I keep saying that. I prepped all my speeches.
I mean, there's nothing stopping him from it at this point unless you guys really hold the line.
But I mean, it's within, when developers come in, when we have the subdivision regulations, if they're playing within the rules, then they're playing within the rules, right? And that's how it is, to where they are playing with single-family homes that are above the minimum lot size, and there's nothing really we can do about it, so, yeah.
That's fine.
And we do have a copy of the plans, and the plans show nothing but single-family homes. We have pictures of it and everything, so
Yeah.
that's all it's gonna be. And if it goes off of that, then we will stop work on it until they bring it back into line with the single-family homes.
Councilman Brewster?
I've read over this bill numerous times, and I'm frustrated with it. I think it takes away local control. I don't think it's gonna help homeowners get into homes faster or it be cheaper. So I am frustrated with this bill, but our hands are tied, and that's frustrating. So we'll keep working on it, but I don't.
Well, I think
Yeah.
neighboring communities and Wichita and County also agree with you that
Yeah.
it's broad, vague language.
Yeah, I've talked to some-
Probably not gonna stand on feet.
I've talked to some councilmen in Wichita specifically at an event about it, and they were frustrated too. So, yep. So I feel your sentiments. So hopefully we can come up with something, but I don't know what that is, or what that looks like right now.
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of mayors around the state through the League of Kansas Municipalities, and the same thing like Councilman Brewster said. I don't see any city that is in favor of this. Yeah, we're gonna talk about zoning here towards the end.
Okay.
We'll get to it.
Well, if there's anything I can do in the future to help you make your decisions or do any research, I'll be glad to.
I think one thing that would help is reach out to the state representatives and let your voice be heard.
Yeah, we've emailed and
Okay.
messaged to, all the reasonable parties, but, no response out of those people.
I'll reach out to them too.
Useless for me.
Yeah, no, I understand. I'll try to reach out to them too, because I know them on a personal level, so.
Sure.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Next speaker is Tobias Wilson. Welcome.
Hello, my name is Tobias Wilson. I'm from 315 East Spencer Drive, and I'm here speaking against flock cameras. Before I begin, I would just like to acknowledge I understand the reason why companies such as Flock would be appealing to the community at first. They can serve as a very useful tool. The ability to monitor traffic remotely 24/7, which on paper gives police the capability of catching crimes more easily, such as, stolen vehicles, the ability to track fleeing vehicles or fleeing criminals, and much more. However, in practice, we see time and time again these cameras' algorithms identifying license plates incorrectly. For example, viewing the number 5 as the letter S and vice versa. We also see these cameras being misused, such as the case in Kansas City last year, where a police officer tracked his ex-girlfriend and her new boyfriend over 200 times using these very cameras, forcing the officer to resign when the news came out, which raises the question of how our own community handles this problem of sensitive data being in the hands of officers, data that can very easily expose people even when the police don't have bad intentions. However, on top of all of these already deeply concerning issues lies an even deeper and more threatening issue. These cameras are incredibly vulnerable, which is what I want to focus on today. As of July 12th, 2026, when I wrote this, there are many unpatched exploits that have the potential to give anyone complete and total remote access to one of these cameras. To make everyone well aware of how easy these cameras are to hack, I will right now summarize CVE 2025-59407, an exploit found in October of 2025, which I just want to point out that was 9 months ago, and this exploit is still possible on these cameras. So this has been 9 months that people have been able to do this. In the Flock Safety Detection Processing Android application, specifically version 6.35.33, there's a Java key store with its password directly in the application code. The key store, named flock_rye.bks, contains a private key that is exposed due to the hard-coded credentials. An attacker could potentially access the private key store stored in the key store and compromise the confidentiality and integrity of the device, potentially gaining unauthorized access to Falcon and Sparrow license plate readers, which I do want to emphasize we use these cameras, the Falcon cameras. Giving them the ability to execute remote code and even exploit the vulnerability across network connections with no physical user interaction with the camera required. While multiple proof of concept exploits are available on gainsec.com, there's thankfully no evidence that anyone has used this exploit in the wild on any cameras. However, given there are many more exploits like this that allow people to access these cameras, given there are many exploits like this and a community of people consistently finding more exploits against these cameras weekly, it's clear that these cameras pose a severe and constant threat to any community that uses them. Mass surveillance is already an incredibly touchy subject, but to even have these cameras in our community to begin with, given their horrible track record of safety, is outright dangerous. Anyone with a laptop and even the tiniest knowledge of computer scripting could gain access to our entire Flock network in minutes, and the sensitive data that's tracking every single person in our city can be had by any criminal without us even knowing. The danger these cameras pose to our community cannot be understated, and having them in our communities in the first place feels very irresponsible. I want us to be able to make a change before things get worse, before someone does go out of their way to exploit one of the many vulnerabilities these cameras have. I want this to be a learning experience for everyone to put more thought and effort into systems like these before jumping headfirst into an unsafe and unjust mass surveillance system that prioritizes profit over the safety of communities and individuals. I want to end my speech with one last question. If the community knew about the issues with these cameras, would they still want them to be put out in our community? Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you. All right, somebody else wanted to speak? This is your time to speak. I think there are 2 other people.
Yeah,
Please state your name and your address.
Ryan Larson. So I didn't have time to prepare much because I just got the news about the meeting. But I can keep it short and sweet. Those who give up the essential liberties to purchase a little safety deserve neither liberty or safety. If you guys know who founded this country and who helped, it was Benjamin Franklin. He said that. And these companies like Flock, they might have some contract with you guys to help you in safety, and yes, they got pros, they got cons. But these companies sell our data to other companies for marketing, advertising, and even worse things that could hurt or potentially hurt our children in the future. Please don't use Flock. I gotta go.
Can you state your address again, please?
No, I don't have to.
That was a no. Councilman Brewster?
His Ben Franklin quote is misrepresentative. Because I've seen this a lot with the flock stuff, and it has to do with the Penn family and the French and Indian War. What they want the Penn family to do is pay for part of the French and Indian War. So this doesn't have to do with government surveillance or stuff like that. I just wanted to note that I've seen this quote quite a bit in my research over the weekend, and it's widely misquoted. So just wanted to throw that out for 2 cents.
Thank you. All right, anybody else would like to speak tonight? Please state your name and your address, please.
Yes. Good evening, Council, Mayor Russell, or Mayor Kessler, sorry. My name is Daniel Rosendale. I live at 350 Hillcrest. I want to first say thank you to Mayor Kessler and the Council for your time and consideration on what brings me here this evening. My name is Daniel Rosendale. I currently live in Ward 1 of Haysville and have grown up and lived in Haysville a majority of my life. I work within the cybersecurity field for my career, and I spend my off time volunteering with OzSec, a Wichita-based cybersecurity conference, and DEF CON 316, a local cybersecurity group. I come before you tonight to speak on the issue of the automated license plate readers, or ALPR, and the impact they have on the privacy of residents of Haysville. What began as research based on my own curiosity as to what ALPRs were exactly, and to better understand them for myself, has expanded into research on the various cybersecurity and privacy concerns that I have now read about regarding ALPRs. More specifically, the Flock branded cameras, of which Haysville has 8 currently. While there are many facets to this argument, tonight I want to focus on the issue of the infringement on the rights of citizens granted by the Fourth Amendment. Regarding the violations of the Fourth Amendment, in Carpenter v. United States 2018, the Supreme Court explicitly rejected the argument that venturing into the public eliminates Fourth Amendment protection. Chief Justice John Roberts wrote that the government's access to cell site location data and by tracking movements on public roads achieved near perfect surveillance, as if it had attached an ankle monitor to the phone's user. While yes, this case was primarily regarding cellular data and GPS tracking, the opinion sets a precedent that could be used in the future against ALPRs as well. Furthermore, in 2020, the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court held in Commonwealth v. McCarthy that with enough cameras in enough locations, the historic location data from an ALPR system in Massachusetts would invade a reasonable expectation of privacy and would constitute a search for the constitutional purposes. In short, they felt that it would be enough to require law enforcement in Massachusetts to be required to obtain a search warrant to obtain that information. Additionally, legal scholars have cited that between the years 2016 and 2017, that of the 2.5 billion license plates that were scanned, 99.5% of those belonged to vehicles unassociated with criminal activity, resembling in more of a dragnet approach to surveillance rather than targeted methods of traditional policing. As of June 29, 2026, in Chatry v. United States, the Supreme Court ruled 6-3 that geofence warrants, which instruct tech companies like Google to provide location data for all cell phone users near a specific area during a given time frame, constitutes a search under the Fourth Amendment, meaning they are now required to get an actual warrant before that data can be collected, further clamping down on the use of dragnet-style searches. This currently does not apply to Flock-obtained data. Some cases to outline what's going on. Joel Fetter, an automotive journalist, was test driving a Range Rover for an article with his wife when he was boxed in by officers and held at gunpoint while the issue could be sorted out. When Fetter got Jaguar Land Rover on the phone, the automaker said that the reported plate number was 3403 DTM, not 3410 DTM. On New Jersey plates, the middle number is written smaller than the others, and thus the Flock cameras recorded 34 DTM. When the system picked up on his plate, it started causing alarm in the police. In another case, on September 27, 2025, Columbine Valley Police Sergeant Jamie Milliman came to Chrisana Elser's door and issued her a summons to appear in court, accusing her of stealing a $25 package in the town of Beaumar. The officer told her he had doorbell video of the theft and that he had tracked her car in the area using the flock cameras. He had it locked in. There is zero doubt. I wouldn't have come here unless I was 100% sure, Sergeant Milliman told Elser. The only problem, Chrisana wasn't there. And she had evidence to prove it. She gathered dash cam footage from her car, Google Maps location logs, and doorbell video showing her walking into her Taylor's house at the time the package was stolen. Sergeant Milliman kept telling her that any evidence she had wasn't worth according to Elser. Several weeks later, Elser was able to finally get in touch with the Columbine Valley Police Chief, Brett Cottrell, who reviewed her evidence and ultimately voided the summons. Elser arguing that she should never have had to provide that evidence and gather that evidence by herself. In closing, I would welcome more time at a later date to speak with the council, either as a whole or individually, on this matter, and would desire to share more information during those meetings. I again want to thank you, Mayor Kessler, and the council members for your time and consideration of this matter. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Councilman Brewster?
Hey, I appreciate you coming. I know me and you've talked quite a bit. If you ever want to reach out and we can go for a cup of coffee or something and talk more about this, I would greatly appreciate it. So thank you.
Yes, sir.
Councilman Myers?
I just want to point out that the live stream is not working. We are not live. So.
Okay. Well, live stream's not working, it'll be recorded, and it'll be up later. All right, any other members of the public who'd like to speak tonight? This is your chance. We do not have a public hearing later, so. All right, we will move on to item 2, approval of licenses and bonds. We have none. Item 3, introduction of ordinances and resolutions. A, an ordinance vacating the platted complete access control and a portion of the centerline utility easement within Lot 3 and the east 20 feet of Lot 4 of Pear Tree Second Edition. Kayla?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So before you is a vacation for the complete access control along East Freeman Avenue, and then a centerline utility easement between Lot 3 and Lot 4 of Pear Tree Second Edition. This was presented to Planning Commission on June 11th. The applicant's proposing these vacations so they can build 4 single-family homes, all with individual driveways off of East Freeman Avenue. Planning Commission recommended approval of the vacation subject to staff's conditions, which were that the legal description for the utility easement be updated to clarify that it didn't extend into the rear easement, and then also that the exhibit matched that amended legal description, both of which have been satisfied, and I can stand for questions.
Are there any questions for Kayla? If not, what would the council like to do? Councilperson Parton?
Make a motion, we approve the vacation of the platted completed access control and a portion of the centerline utility easements within lots 3 and the east 20 feet of Lot Pear Tree Second Edition.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the ordinance as presented. Any discussion? Question, please.
Brewster?
Yes.
Walters?
Yes.
Barton?
Yes.
Ewart? Yes. Clothier? Yes. Parton?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
All right, next we have item B, an ordinance vacating a portion of platted complete access control within Lot 1, Block A, Mahoney, Second Edition.
This case was also heard on June 11th. This applicant wants to split the property and construct an additional single-family home on the rear half with access off of South Hydraulic Avenue, which was the complete access control vacations for. Planning Commission recommended approval as presented, and I can stand for questions.
Any questions for Kayla? If not, what would the council like to do? Councilperson Parton?
Make a motion, we approve this as presented.
Second.
The motion and a second to approve this ordinance vacating a portion of platted completed access control within Lot 1, Block A, Mahoney, Second Edition. Is there any other discussion? Question, please.
Brewster?
Yes.
Walters?
Yes.
Barton?
Yes.
Ewart? Yes. Clothier? Yes. Parton?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
All right, next item C, a resolution of the City of Haysville, Kansas, authorizing a conditional use to permit the construction and operation of a self-service storage warehouse at 7474 South Broadway Avenue. So this is the one that was returned to planning at our last meeting.
Yes, so this was first presented to City Council on June 8th and reviewed by the Planning Commission originally on May 14th. At the June 8th council meeting, you all voted to return to the Planning Commission so they could further review for screening, surveillance, and rodent control. The commission's original recommendation was to approve subject to the following conditions. 1, to achieve a harmonious and organized appearance, all cargo containers must be painted the same color or grouped in rows or sections by color. And 2, that the cargo containers may be exempt from the screening requirements in Appendix 506, or Appendix E 506. So staff took this back to Planning Commission on June 11th and presented them with site photos of the existing self-service storage facilities in the city and nearby the city, and examined the city code as it related to surveillance and rodent control. All of that information is in your packet tonight. The Planning Commission ultimately decided to recommend approval of the conditional use, subject to no conditions. So the cargo containers would not be subject, or would be subject to the screening requirements, but would not be required to be grouped by color. The applicant is here tonight if you have any questions for them, and I can stand for questions as well.
Councilperson Barton?
So they will be putting up the fence that is screening up to like 10 foot?
Solid screening, it has to completely cover the cargo containers. They'll be like 8.5 feet tall, so it has to be a minimum of 9 feet tall.
Okay.
Any other questions? Seeing none, what would council like to do? I'll review the options here. So we could either adopt the Planning Commission's recommendation via resolution by simple majority vote of the entire membership of the governing body, or amend and adopt the Planning Commission's recommendation via resolution by simple majority vote of the entire membership of the governing body, or deny the Planning Commission's recommendations by 2/3 majority vote of the entire membership of the governing body, which would be 6 votes, or take no further action. Councilman Myers.
So just to be clear, screening will be required. We no longer can enforce all the same color, right? That's because that was more of a thing with no screening.
Planning Commission thought it was an either or. We
Yeah.
either require screening
Yeah.
and don't require color matching, or we require color
Okay.
matching and exempt
And they
them from
likely
screening.
will be color matching anyways because they're buying all new ones, so I mean.
His
are
plan
you
is
the-
to-
Okay.
His plan is to do all white cargo containers.
Okay, yeah. I don't see an issue with that, especially with the screening. I know we had discussion last meeting about whether or not screening, we were gonna not allow it, but I mean, if screening is required, and, yeah, I mean, I don't see why we wouldn't wanna approve it as is. So I would make a motion, unless there's anybody else that would like to say anything, make a motion to approve, the storage unit, proposed storage unit as proposed, or as
Second.
presented.
So a motion and a second to approve the resolution of the City of Haysville, Kansas, authorizing a conditional use permit, the construction and operation of a self-service storage warehouse at 7474 South Broadway Avenue. Any further discussion? Question, please.
Brewster,
No.
Walters,
Yes.
Barton,
Nope.
Hubert. No. Mayor,
No.
Clothier. No. Barton,
No.
Miners,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
What was that?
It failed.
No, Tyler?
So this motion failed.
Okay. So,
So we move on to the next item, which is item D.
well, hold on, how does that, so what happens with that? Does it go back to planning or what?
No, it just fails.
So then do they not get to build their business?
To be correct, right?
Council has to approve or disapprove.
Okay. Sorry.
So We can't just let it sit.
Hmm. So it goes back to planning or no? It doesn't go back.
Have to have something done here.
Okay.
So, Josh, are you saying we need a motion to disapprove it?
And the statute says that you gotta approve it or disapprove it.
Okay.
Do we have to give a reason for why it's being disapproved? No.
So that work then, or no?
Party need a motion to disapprove?
Because
We didn't have 6 votes.
How many votes were there?
The vote that I counted was 6 no,
Oh, we did?
3 yes.
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, then I miscounted, so.
To be cleaner, would somebody like to make an alternate?
Yeah, so we had a motion in favor that failed. So we need a motion on the other side if that's what someone wants to make.
Somebody like to make a motion to deny this conditional use permit? Councilperson Parton?
So moved.
The motion and a second to deny this permit of the construction of operation of self-service storage warehouse at 7474 South Broadway. Any discussion? Question, please.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I do have a quick question. So by denying this, it's specifically for using the shipping containers? Is that what it is? That he can still come back and do a storage unit, but it would have to be traditionally built buildings? Is that where the,
Denying the conditional use is for the self-service storage warehouse,
okay.
not for the car containers.
Oh,
So
okay.
he could come back, if the motion passes to deny the conditional use, he could come back and reapply for another one proposing to use stick-built buildings.
Mhm.
He
Would-
could also use stick-built buildings for this conditional use.
Okay. Would that be in better consideration for the council if it was tradition? Is the problem that it's shipping containers? Is that the problem here? Or is the problem that it's a storage unit? Or, you know, I mean, why are we, this is a business this is a gentleman who's trying to conduct business in our city, right? He's trying to make some money. And what is the opposition, I guess, is what I'm trying to get a feel. Is it just that we don't want more storage units? Because, I mean, that's for the open market to decide, right? That's for people with money that want to store things, if they want to store things, right? Otherwise, the business will go out of business, right? That's how things work. That's how open market works. So, I mean, if we just don't want more storage units, I mean, that's a discussion. But if it's the shipping containers that we don't like how the optics are, I can totally understand that. But I'm just trying to get a feel for why we're denying this business, so.
I'm not thrilled with
Councilmember
storage
Martin?
units
Storage unit?
Well, I think part of the problem
or
is
storage
that
containers.
we have enough storage units in Haysville as it is. I mean, I'm sorry, but we don't need any more storage units. But we have multiple ones in Haysville
Yeah.
that, I don't know what the extent, how full they are, but we have been trying, when that area was in my ward, we constantly were getting complaints of, you know, it not being cleaned up. We're trying, you know, we've been trying to clean up Broadway since 2012 with the South Broadway corridor. And so that's what we've been trying to do. And so that's, I mean, that's my point is we don't need any more storage units. We have plenty as it is.
And I guess my question, and, you know, I'm new on council, so please tell me if I'm wrong.
No, you're fine.
Would be like, is that really our role to decide what kind of businesses operate? Like, and it's a genuine question, like, is that really our job, or is that more of a by right of the property owner? You know, like, you know, I'm a mushroom farm. If another mushroom farm opens up in town, I'm not gonna tell them there's already enough mushroom farms in town. If there's enough mushrooms to be sold, then another mushroom farm opens up. So, I mean, I understand that it is our role to kind of steer how the city is built, but is that within our power, and is that typically how it works, where like the council is gonna say no to a certain type of business because we think we have enough of them? Is that fair?
I can't tell you if it's fair or not.
Yeah. Is that allowable, I guess? I mean, is that within our power, I guess, would be my question.
The council can either, vote for or vote against it.
Yeah, so it is within our
That's
power.
the power, yes.
Okay, all right,
But
thank you.
like I said, mine's the storage containers.
Yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't have problems with stick built.
so if you came
I
back
just-
with a stick.
I just don't like the storage containers.
I think like I said, we have enough storage units as it is.
Mhm.
But if you came back with a option of stick-built,
Mhm.
then that might be a little bit different issue of,
Yeah,
allowing it or whatever.
better optics, it looks
But-
nicer.
right.
I agree.
I'm totally against the cargo containers. I'm just not,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, you weren't at the last meeting, we discussed basically that, yeah, it's gonna set a precedence of cargo container companies, and then you open the door, and then everyone wants to build a cargo container company, and we don't want that.
Right.
So I can agree with that. So I guess what I wanna make sure that's clear, that if this gentleman goes home and does all the paperwork and permits and everything to try to do a stick-built storage unit, that we would allow it, or some people would change their vote. Yes, Janet? Anybody else? And you would
Well,
potentially?
you can't poll us. That's
Well, I mean,
just-
this is public, we can pull it, this is not, we're not doing this on the side, this is all
I
public,
understand,
correct?
but
I like this, it's something for the property owner to figure out.
I just don't want this gentleman to waste his time and money.
Good.
Okay.
Would you like the property owner to speak?
Yeah, sure.
Hi guys, how's everyone doing? I've been working on this project here for probably like 6 or 8 months now. You guys have driven by the property. The building's there, been there since the 40s. Like it's due for a remodel. Something needs to be done over there. I think me coming in and doing this, we're gonna put up a nice wood fence. We're planning on putting up a nice wood fence in the front. There's gonna be shrubs, there's gonna be grass, everything's gonna be fenced off. Slats in the fence, you won't even see the shipping containers back there. We have too many storage units. You can call around to any storage unit place right now. You might find 1 or 2 in your city of Haysville that have occupancy. Most of them are full. So there is a need for it. There's people that need that. That's tax revenue that's going to be leaving you guys' city to go to Wichita or go to somewhere else, Derby, wherever. So you might as well keep that tax revenue here. Produce a new business, have a nice new business with a nice new fence and stuff on Broadway. I'd almost bet you in my run where my spot is will be the nicest one in a half-mile spread there, right there, guarantee it. So, like I said, it's an opportunity. I'd like for you guys to take advantage of it, and hopefully you'll vote to do it, and we can come in and make it look nice and clean it up and make it something nice and something new for the city. Portable containers are coming up everywhere. There's a lot of places doing portable containers. There's a guy over in Rose Hill. He's got probably 150 of them on the ground. Every one of them's full. You go over to even little Udall. Udall's got 8 or 10 of them on the ground. You can see on K15. They look nice. They're done very nicely. They're full. So there's a need for it. It makes sense. The containers are simple to use. People understand them. They're quick, easy storage. So, yeah. Any other questions? Anything I can bring up? Anything I can help fill in the blanks on?
Council have any questions? Councilman Brewster?
I appreciate you coming and talking. I've been against this only because I want to clean up Broadway. But I also appreciate your argument.
Yeah.
And so, I wish we would have talked before we voted on this. I think you've swayed me, to be honest with you, so.
And I mean, you guys can drive by, and that property is not the prettiest thing in the world. I mean,
Yeah, I've got it on Google Maps right now, looking
Yeah.
at it, so.
yeah. And I don't have any other plans other than this. I mean, I don't, yeah, I bought it to hopefully do something with it and improve the area. And now, if we're not gonna approve it, then, it'll sit there and we'll lock it up and I guess continue to mow it and do what we need to over there. But again, I'd like to see something new. I'd like to see something on Broadway cleaned up that looks nice over there.
Councilman Myers?
Councilman Brewster, you can move to reconsider if the majority agrees. The motion can come back to the floor, or are we actually, or we already have a
We still have a
motion and
question,
it's
yeah.
seconded. So we could potentially fail that motion and then make another motion again. But I mean, I don't know, we would still need a majority though. So, I mean, yeah, currently it is, like you said, a ran down 1940s old building that needs to be demolished more than likely, just it's end of cycle.
Yep.
And this will be an improvement on Broadway. You know, it's not the steakhouse that we wanted, but I don't think, you know, the VFW is across the street if you want steak.
Yeah.
So it overall will make the area look better. Will you be planting any gardens, trees in the front, or is
Yeah.
it just gonna be fenced?
Yeah, so we're planning on doing a wood fence in the front. We're gonna have shrubs and trees, you know, in the front to make it look nice. There's a patch of grass that for some reason has sustained this whole amount of time, so we're gonna keep that. It'll be nice, it'll be mowed. And of course, the fence on the north side will all be black with slats in it, so you won't see the shipping containers coming from the north.
So you're talking about a wood fence? up front,
Wood fence on the front.
9 foot, 10 foot?
It'll be 9 foot, and then 9-foot chain link on the north side with slats.
Okay. Any other questions?
Sorry, all the shipping containers too, they're brand new. I mean, they're not bringing anything used. You're not gonna see a blue or a green or a purple. They're all ivory white. They'll all be stacked in there. City's requiring us to anchor them down. We've got engineering blueprints to anchor them all down like they're supposed to be done. It'll be, you know, a permanent facility.
So right now we have a motion and a second on the floor to deny it. Councilman Walters?
Yeah, could you rephrase what that motion and second, and does it need to be modified?
I'll let Angie read it.
The motion is to deny. Motion by Parton, second by Ewert to deny the resolution.
So for clarification purposes, if I vote no now because he swayed me, then we'd have to make another motion again. Can we do that?
Another motion.
If that
Okay.
failed, we would need another motion to do something else.
Okay. And I want to personally apologize. I just want Broadway to look nice. I think that's a big complaint, but I think with you talking, it's changed my opinion, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, and I'm here for the long haul. I'm not looking to build this and sell it or anything like that. I mean, this is my property, and I'm wanting to build it for the future, so.
We could have avoided this if you'd been last meeting.
Yeah.
All right, so right now that's the motion to deny. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Just to clarify, then a motion to say no would be to reject this, and then a new motion could come forth.
Correct.
All right.
If we vote no.
If we vote.
If no wins.
Right.
To avoid all
Yes.
that, Josh, can somebody propose a substitute motion at this time?
They could, yes.
Okay.
Okay. I propose a substitute motion to approve of this. What was it?
Conditional use.
The conditional
permit.
use, yeah, of a self-storage unit warehouse at 7474 South Broadway Avenue.
As originally proposed, is that what you're saying?
So that, right, is that what we're doing? We're amending it to go back to the last
No,
motion, or what? Or
Just
no?
approving it as presented
Approving it as presented.
is what you want to do, I believe.
So as presented, he
I'm confused.
does not require fencing, is
Yes,
that
he
correct?
does.
No,
It
it
does
doesn't.
require
It could
fencing
be
as
chain
presented
link.
today.
But it could be chain link.
It's just not gonna require all the same color, right? That was
Right.
the thing that we were trying to get with no screening.
It's going to require the screening, and as he stated, he's going to put a 9-foot wooden fence facing Broadway, 9-foot chain link on the north side with slats to screen as well. And so the way it's presented today would require screening. It would not require them all to be the same color, organized by color.
And all the containers are white.
But they will be.
A light ivory, yes.
A light
They're all
ivory.
brand new, yeah.
And it would require wood in the front.
Does that need a second?
It would require screening.
Screen, right? Spot on.
That requires a second? That
Second.
requires a second.
I'll second it.
All right, so a motion and a second for an alternate motion to approve the conditional use permit as presented.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right, we have first and a second, any discussion? Councilman Walters?
No, you answered it.
Question, please.
Brewster,
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Barton,
Yes.
Ewert,
Yes.
Clothier. Yes. Parton,
No.
Myers,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. All right, so motion passes.
Thank you guys very much, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next we have item D, an ordinance amending and restating Chapter 16A, the zoning regulations of the city of Haysville, Kansas, and amending the official zoning map or maps of the city to reflect such amendments, all pursuant to the zoning regulations of the city.
So staff is initiating these amendments to the zoning regulations to modernize and codify our practices, encourage more housing development, and promote smart growth. The amendments are intended to achieve the city's comprehensive plan goals of streamlining the development process, diversifying housing options, capitalizing on existing infrastructure, and supporting new and existing businesses. Key changes include adding a townhouse district, which we called SF3, a mixed-use residential district called MUR, a mixed-use commercial district called MUC, and special design regulations for all commercial and mixed-use districts. The entire document was also reformatted and organized. During the amendment process, the state passed SB 418, which we were talking about earlier, the By Right Housing Development Act. So this act requires certain single-family, two-family, townhouse, and accessory dwelling unit developments to be permitted by right without additional review from the Planning Commission, Board of Zoning Appeals, or the governing body. It also removes the ability to protest against single-family rezonings, and as such, we had to change many things to our proposed amendments to conform to the act, and we opted to add those changes as an appendix to the city code, which is the proposed Appendix E 507. On the second page of this memo, you'll see that staff is actually recommending that we send the zoning regulations back to the Planning Commission for further review, and that is because of SB 418. In the presentation to Planning Commission on June 11th, staff initially interpreted SB 418 to require that all land zoned for any residential use to be also zoned for single-family and two-family residential use. But since that meeting, different interpretations from other cities have arisen that suggest this interpretation may not be the best. So the zoning regulations before you today reflect staff's initial recommendation and interpretation and allow two-family and all residential and mixed-use zoning districts. So staff is recommending the zoning regulations be sent back so we can further review those and make any necessary changes to the zoning regulations. However, I would like to review the rest of the amendments today and get your comments and concerns. Please save all questions related to SB 418 until we're done reviewing each article, and we can discuss them at the end. I plan to review the changes to each article by article and then ask for questions after each. There are 12 total. In Article 1, we consolidated the legal provisions of the zoning regulations into one article. This took sections from the original Article 1 and then sections 200, 201, and 706, just putting them all in one place. We explicitly incorporated the site development articles pertaining to home occupations, residential design manufactured homes, wireless communication facilities, and cargo containers so that the violation and enforcement procedures in the zoning regulations can apply to them. We added interpretations for the terms guideline and standard as they apply to the commercial and mixed-use zoning districts and their special design standards. And we allowed the definition of terms in other chapters of the city code or in the state statute to apply to the zoning regulations and referenced any current state statutes that needed update. Do you have any questions about Article 1?
None.
Seeing none. For Article 2, we consolidated all of the administrative procedures into this one article and established the duties and powers for the zoning administrator, planning commission, and board of zoning appeals as they are assigned by the zoning regulations and state statute. Any questions there?
None.
For Article 3, we separated the definitions into their own article and separated them by land use definitions and general definitions. The land use definitions is the definition for any use you would see in the use chart. We also added several definitions, many of which were new housing types, floodplain terms, lot and use terminology, and also retail fulfillment centers. We updated existing definitions to match state statute and the adopted International Building Code and removed any obsolete or unnecessary definitions. Any questions there?
No.
For Article 4, we consolidated the regulations that pertain to all of the zoning districts. Into this article, we explicitly allowed more than one use on a lot and more than one building on all non-single family lots. We added special use standards for ADUs, accessory dwelling units, ATMs, retail fulfillment centers, vehicle and equipment sales, freight and truck terminals, and vehicle storage yards. And we added optional transition guidelines for lot sizes and building heights, and modified the use chart to allow uses in lower, more strict zoning districts to also be allowed in higher, less restrict zoning districts. For example, if it's allowed in light commercial, it would also be allowed in light industrial. Any questions there?
Councilman Myers?
Yes, I do have a question. We had previous discussions about food processing. We should consider adding small-scale production of food goods to be listed and allowed for home occupations. Baking, cooking, canning, dehydration should be allowed. This will help encourage new local food systems and new vendors at the Haysville hometown market. Currently, per our planning and zoning administrator, anybody producing food goods at home are operating in a gray area and not required to have a business license. I would propose that we require a business license and allow it to be listed on as an approved home occupation. So, anybody have any input on that?
To add that as an approved home occupation, we'd have to be updating the appendix for home occupations, and that's not what we're proposing today.
Oh, that's not in section 4?
No.
Wasn't that on this, isn't that in the use chart?
In the use chart?
Yeah.
Food processing?
I'm saying to add it.
To add it to the use chart, we allow home occupations generally in the home occupation appendix. We don't list them on the use chart.
Okay, so what section would that be under then? What article?
I know it's listed in here. It's one of the appendixes.
Yeah. So I guess more importantly to council, is anybody else opposed or for that? Is that something that we want to consider? Adding a section for small-scale production of food goods? So that way people who can want to do baking at home or whatever can actually, on the books, do it, come to the farmer's market and sell things. Because right now we're not, it's a gray area. It's a gray area where we don't disallow it, but it's also not explicitly listed in our code, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. So, and it would just yield more people at the farmer's market, vendors wise, so.
Well, if it's in the gray area and they can do it, because they go to the fall festival and have craft booths there.
Yeah.
I mean, is there?
Well, it's just more of not having a gray area, I suppose, that we can actually have them be included in, not in the gray, because gray area can sometimes be denied, right? That sometimes can happen, and by explicitly allowing it, it makes it to where it's very easy to understand what you can and cannot do. Because currently, there's no mention of it, so.
I can just see the conversation now, we're trying to get more money by getting licenses from them.
It's $5. The license is
It
more.
doesn't matter.
Yeah. So, I mean, ultimately, it comes down to food safety, because now with, technically, even if you're making cookies at home, you should still be following guidelines set forth by the, USDA, FDA for food safety guidelines, and being on the books and being compliant, just helps with that, so.
Councilman Brewster?
How would this affect all of our schools that do different things? Like the FCCLA is one that comes to mind. Would they have to?
So I know children are not included. Like there's a Kansas law that whenever they're doing business, as long as they don't do more than $10,000, they don't, like if your kid opens up a cookie sales or whatever, they're exempt from all of that, from having to file, from having to do sales tax, from having to do revenue taxes. So kids would be protected of anything like that, from what I know. So this is more for at-home farmers, bakers, things like that.
Councilman Walters?
So my question would be, at what point would it not be, would it move out of the gray area? You're saying $10,000 for children. Farmer's market, whatever, what point would it raise to be not, I mean, why, if we're asking about getting rid of a gray area, then what level does it have to raise before it's out of that gray area?
So a lot, I don't know about our hometown market, but a lot of farmers markets, say like the 21st and Ridge one, require a business license. and they require a sales permit. You know, you have to have an EIN, you have to be registered with the state for sales, withholdings and everything. So that's required by state. So beyond that, it comes down to what the city is allowing for a home occupation specifically, right? Like, would we want to make a section allowing this, right? And there's no threshold. The threshold is if you're in business or you're not, right? Are you online selling goods or going to the farmer's market and have a table up and you're doing sales? Once you do that, you're pretty much open for sales tax, you're open for having a business license, you're open for all of that. So, and a lot of that comes from IRS, you know, state level kind of stuff of filing a business, filing an LLC or whatever. And you don't have to file an LLC, but you know, a lot of that comes from above us. But what I'm just discussing here is adding, you know, small scale food production to our clearly allowed green area, make a green area for it basically. And it would only encourage the potential for more businesses to start up here, because, you know, small cookie companies start out and then they end up being big factories in the end, you know, after years and years. You know, I started out in a one-car garage. I'm 3,000 square feet right now. You know, so similar could happen with somebody's wife baking cookies, you know, and allowing that to start and making a good incubator space for them, I think is important to make sure that our code protects them and gives them a place to where they can operate in the green and not in a gray area, so.
Any other discussion? Councilman Warden?
Well, I understand where Councilman Meyer's coming from, but I think in this situation right here, if we're gonna do this, I think this is at least that section needs to be tabled. A little more research done on it instead of trying to make something of it tonight.
I wasn't trying to make anything tonight.
No, I'm just saying.
I
Do
think
more research.
It needs some, yeah, exactly. Like, where do we wanna, like Councilman Walters was saying, like, where do you draw the line, at what point, whatever, and so there are some questions to be answered for sure. But I guess my question to council today would be would we be open to adding a section regarding this?
Will?
If it's okay, later in the year when the planning commission is looking at that section, if council wants us to, we can look at that and make that something that's in there, and then it can be discussed at that point in time as far as if you want to approve it that way or not. What's the schedule for that, just later this fall or later this summer?
It'd probably be January 2027.
January 2027 is when it's next scheduled in.
Oh, okay, I thought that
That
we were all doing this now and it had to go through. So
It's a different section.
It's not a section that we're talking about.
Okay, my apologies, okay.
The appendix is not part of this public hearing in this amendment process.
Okay, my apologies.
Councilman Brewster?
So yeah, I think we should table this until January.
We don't have to table it.
Yeah, it's no motion,
yeah.
it's just,
Yeah.
okay, my apologies. I got it out there though.
Yes.
Okay.
Kaylin, go ahead.
Any other questions for Article 4?
Where was the compacted rock? I didn't know that we were doing this by article. The compacted rock crushed concrete part, where was that at?
For like the hard surface and all weather surface
Yes.
definition?
Mhm.
That's gonna be in Article 3, general definitions.
Okay, so can I jump back one
Sure.
article? I apologize. So there's a section in there that compacted rock or crushed concrete minimum of 4 inches thick, utilizing a minimum of 1 inch diameter. And basically it goes on to say that it shall require a border installed around all 4 sides, extending 2 to 3 inches above the ground, not to impede drainage. So this is like crushed rock, parking lots, driveways. This border is an arbitrary concept and not commonly practiced or used across the city existing crushed rock lots and drives. While I can understand the intent to help retain and maintain a clearly defined line, they often shift and rock spread with or without borders. Requiring a border to extend 2 to 3 inches above can result in issues with MHE equipment, as well as difficulties when trying to resurface and grade the lot. I simply don't see the benefit or need for this requirement. This can also add significant unnecessary financial burden, especially for larger lots and drives. I have some crushed rock on my property, and having to border all of it with a 2-inch border, like, first off, it's gonna hinder my operations, I'll tell you that right now, and it's gonna cost me thousands of dollars and a lot of work. And I think the same can be applied to anybody who has a driveway like this or a road like this. I think that that section should be just striked out, if you ask me. That we still need to include the 4 inches deep and all that, but the borders around all 4 sides. I drove around a little bit. There's really no lots that have these borders up. There's no driveways that have these borders up. I can understand the concept of having this and working towards that, but it's just not realistic, if you ask me. It's not something that is really beneficial, and it's just arbitrary, if you ask me. So.
All right, any other questions? Go ahead.
All right.
Are we ready to move on to Article 5?
Yes.
So for Article 5, we created a dedicated article for the residential zoning districts and established purposes for all of these districts, revised the lot size and setbacks to reduce nonconformities and accommodate a larger variety of housing types, including stacked duplexes and townhouses, standardized the maximum building height, renamed the SF and SFZ districts to SF5 and SF3 respectively to match the nomenclature of SF15, and updated the building code references in the tiny home district. Any questions?
No.
For Article 6, we again created a dedicated article for just the commercial and mixed-use zoning districts. We established purposes for all districts and added pedestrian-oriented design standards, replaced the multifamily apartment MFA district with the MUR mixed-use residential district, and added a new MUC mixed-use commercial district, removed the office commercial district, and updated the setback and dimensional standards. Any questions?
No.
For Article 7, this is the article just for industrial zoning districts. They all got purposes. We tightened the outdoor storage regulations by limiting the front yard storage allowance and reducing screening requirements to just collector and arterial streets only. Previously, it was all sides of the property. Any questions?
Councilperson Parton?
Why are we taking the screening away from the other side?
Most of our light industrial properties are adjacent to other light industrial properties, so they would have similar outdoor storage to each other.
But at 79th and Broadway, you've got residential on the other 2 sides.
From arterial and collector streets, it would still be screened. Let me double check.
Right, but on the north side of that light industrial area is residential.
I'm gonna double check what this says.
And across the little driveway to the west is residential.
So this code section says that all items stored outdoors shall not be visible from ground level view in any adjacent lot that's a lesser zoning district. So if the neighboring lots were heavy commercial or less, if they weren't light industrial, they'd still have to screen from them, but then they wouldn't have to screen from adjacent light industrial properties.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, go ahead.
Any other questions? We can move to Article 8. So Article 8 is for the special zoning districts. We provided legal descriptions for the lots affected by the HDO, Historic Original Town Overlay, and reinserted the application area map to show what it actually affects, consolidated the dimensional use standards for the historic district, and explicitly prohibited all uses that are not included in the use chart. Any questions?
No.
For Article 9, we modernized the nonconformity regulations by clarifying where they're applicable, what is nonconforming and what is actually illegal, defining what a nonconforming lot structure and use is, limiting the expansion and conversion of nonconforming uses, updating the abandonment and discontinuance rules, and aligning the abatement requirements with the parking and landscaping regulations, and also eliminating the registration requirement.
Councilman Myers?
Yeah, what was the reason for removing the allowance of non-conforming uses can be expanded? Why was that removed? Because it was previously what, they couldn't expand more than 50% of the...
So we removed it because our non-conforming section as it currently stands allows a lot of grandfathering that we're not legally required to allow. Non-conforming uses are generally non-conforming for a reason. So with these updates, they would be moving non-conforming uses to elimination
Mhm.
versus allowing them to continue as they are.
So, I mean, so since coming on this council, I now have found out that my farm is non-conforming, correct? Is that?
That is correct.
Yeah, so my farm is non-conforming by no fault of my own, because I asked all the questions I had to, put all my permits through, said I was good to go, and it wasn't until this year that I got a notice that I'm non-conforming. So now, with this new update, I can't expand my farm, right? With the fact that it's, at least the non-conforming part of it. And I just don't see, because I'm sure there's other people that are in the same boat as me where they're non-conforming by no fault of their own, right? So I'm a non-conforming by fault of the city for allowing it when I guess they shouldn't have, or I don't know. I don't really understand all of what happened there. But I'm just saying that removing an allowance to expand non-conforming, well, now you just corner me to where my company can't grow. And do we want companies to not grow? And I understand that we don't want them to grow in the wrong direction is the idea, correct? But previously, it was written in a limiting factor of only 50% more square footage, right? So in my eyes, because this will absolutely personally affect me, I think it would be more, and the fact that this is by no fault of my own that I'm in this situation, that it was the city that accepted me to do this, that it should be left as is, where it's 50% of what was non-conforming. So, and that's me personally being affected by this change.
Some non-conforming uses can be corrected through, or some non-conforming uses and structures and lots could be corrected through the variance procedures, or an exception by the BZA, or a code change.
Yeah.
So the requirement that they wouldn't be able to expand might not always exist.
So I would need a variance in my case, possibly.
For your case, you would need approval by the planning commission,
Yeah, for a variance.
not a variance.
Not a variance. Oh, okay. So, okay.
All right, any other questions? All right, go ahead.
For Article 10, we've consolidated the zoning procedures into one article and wrote them out for all of the types of zoning cases in the regulation amendments. We've changed the requirement for action by the Planning Commission on conditional use permits to just be a majority of the members present and voting to match state statute. Previously, it was the entire membership of the body. We've added a successive application clause to the conditional use permit procedures to avoid applicants immediately reapplying for the same conditional use after denial. And we've added a failure of conditions clause to the conditional use permit procedures to allow the zoning administrator, with the concurrence of the deputy administrative officer, to revoke a conditional use if they have reoccurring or continuous unresolved violations. And we've added a recommendation for PUD applicants to hold some sort of community engagement prior to submitting their application and throughout the application process, and also some review criteria based on federal recommendations. Any questions?
No.
For Article 11, we listed out the types of violations and ways the zoning regulations can be violated, and how these violations are investigated and the notice procedure requirements. Any questions?
No.
And then there were no significant changes to Article 12. And that is all of the articles.
So are there any questions? Councilman Thompson?
Yes, not that I'd like to be like the other cities around us, but does this get in line with their views on this stuff?
For what in
The whole
specifically?
revamping of this, is that,
Reform is a popular topic right now for zoning
Yeah.
regulations.
and this condenses everything in more easier to read for everybody then, and they understand it better? Is that what it's gonna do?
That's the plan. It's more, I've rearranged the articles so it's easier to find what you're looking for. And hopefully it's in an order that you would be looking for the information.
Are there any other questions? Somebody on council like to make a motion to send this back to zoning? And could you state what the reason was for?
We're return to the Planning Commission's recommendation for further consideration so staff can review the different interpretations of SB 418 and amend the zoning regulations accordingly.
Councilperson Parton.
Yeah, motion, what she said.
Second.
Yeah, motion and a second to send us back to planning and zoning, as what Caleb said. Any discussion? Question, please.
Brewster?
Yes.
Walters?
Yes.
Gordon?
Yes.
Hebert?
Yes.
Clothier?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes. All right. Next, we will move on to item E, resolution of the City of Haysville, Kansas, establishing a policy regarding multiple occupancy private space management. So, pretty much this is the SB 2244, the bathroom bill that was passed this year. It's basically just the city will be complying with this Senate bill. Any questions, or anybody like to make a motion to pass this? Councilman Warden.
A motion is a resolution of the City of Haysville, Kansas, establishing a policy regarding multiple occupancy private space management.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve this resolution as presented. Any discussion? Question, please.
Brewster?
Yes.
Walters?
Yes.
Gordon?
Yes.
Hebert?
Yes.
Clothier?
Yes.
Parton?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yeah.
All right, next we have item 4, notices and communications. A, governing body announcements. Are there any announcements from the governing body?
I just have the park board meeting on Monday, August 3rd at 5. We'll be doing the arts project, starting the arts project. So if anybody wants to come on board and help out with that, you are invited.
I have some senior center announcements. July monthly dinner is July 17th. Paint class on July 18th. I believe they're doing hot air balloons. Lunch and shopping outing on July 21st. Coffee and conversation with Homestead of Haysville Assisted Living. That's on July 22nd. CPR and AED awareness presentation, also July 22nd. And Caregivers Challenge presentation on July 27th. Some ongoing programs, they have coffee and conversation, games, crafts, bingo, Alzheimer's support group, fitness classes, and line dancing. And I'd also like to, we just had our 75th anniversary celebration last Friday at the library, so I thought it went very well. We had over 200 people in attendance to that. Senator Marshall came, gave a speech, Congressman Estes, Central County Chairman Blueball, myself, and also Carolyn Gonzalez. She talked about how she moved here from Derby in 1957. Her and her husband built a house, and she's still living in the same house. Also like to thank the council members, city staff. Without them, it'd be very hard to put on. Library, friends of the library, and especially the citizens of Haysville. We're all proud to call Haysville our home. So last week I was invited by McCall Air Force Base to go out to the front gate this morning. So I went out there at 6:30 this morning and just welcomed airmen as they came in on base. I mean, it was just all 3 gates open, 2 people per lane coming in. So it was just all the way out to Rock Road and down Rock Road. So it was just a pleasure to be invited and just say hi to the airmen as they're coming in on base. So just always a joy supporting our military. And we were also invited to the Sedgwick County Fair. I know Councilperson Clothier and I went out there. A 4-H member gave us a tour on the fair, took us around all the animals and all the 4-H exhibits and told us what they did, and learned a lot about 4-H. Appreciative of them. All right, that's all I have. Councilman Brewster.
For me, programs at the Haysville City Library. 10:30 is Parents as Teachers Summer Story Time. 3 p.m. on June 14th is a movie night matinee, Chicken Run. July 15th is a performance at 10 a.m. George Reader, Magician. July 15th also will be the Lego Club. July 16th also will have summer activity flower plot planting. July 20th, citywide garage sale permits are on sale. July 21st, Parents as Teachers again at 10:30. July 31st, the summertime matinee movie will be Zootopia #2. July 22nd, 10 p.m. special performance, Big Twisted Balloon Magic. Let's see, July 23rd, 3 to 6, summer activities, balloon animals. July 24th, 6 p.m. Friends Ice Cream Social Celebration and Watermelon Contest Drawing. I went to that last year. It was a lot of fun. July 25th, 11 to 4 is Red Cross Blood Drive. July 28th, 10:30 is Parents as Teachers Summertime Story Time. July 28th, that afternoon at 3 p.m., the summer matinee movie will be Meet the Robinsons. July 30th at 10 to noon, summertime activity is tie-dye. And July 30th, 7 p.m., library board meeting. There's a lot going on at our libraries.
Yes, there is. Thank you.
Hey, you know if the hardware store is gonna sell those garage sale permits this year?
I do not know. I can ask though,
You
or we
might
can
check,
find out. Yeah.
Because
I'll
it's already
find
been asked on Facebook.
out. Okay.
Pretty sure they are.
Yeah, I just wanted clarification, because Carol Brown said library, didn't say anything about library and hardware store.
Yeah.
So, just one check.
I'll find out.
Okay.
All right, next we have item B, Sedgwick County Fire Department Station 34 monthly report. It's in your packet. C, quarterly economic development report. So that is in your packet. Also have a thank you card for or from Kathy and Walt Atkins regarding the Independence Day celebration. That went very well also on the 4th. Item 5, old business. A consideration of agreement with Christopher Davis regarding court probation services. So we'd like to table this because there has not been court in the last couple weeks. So he has not been in to talk to. So we'd just like to find out more information from him. Councilman Warden?
Okay, I'll just make a motion that we table this consideration agreement with Christopher Davis for court probation services.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to table the consideration, or the, you say table? Table to the next meeting. Consideration of agreement with Christopher Davis regarding the court probation services. Any discussion? Question, please.
Brewster?
Yes.
Walters?
Yes.
Gordon?
Yes.
Ewert?
Yes.
Hogan? Yes. Horton?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Next item 6, other business, a presentation of the 2025 audit report. Mike Gerber, welcome.
It's going, dang, I'm not used to have to wait this long.
Exciting part here. Well, thank you, Mayor, council members. Thank you for having me here today. My name is Michael Gerber. I'm a partner with Forvis Mazars. We complete your financial statement audit for the city. We just wrapped up the 2025 engagements. Within your packet, you do have the final reports, both the financial statements and the management letter. I just have a few highlights that I want to go over with you. First, I want to thank your finance team, Angie, Will. They always do a great job getting us what we need to complete our work, so couldn't do it without them. So thank you very much to both of you helping us out here. Secondly, within this report, you operate or you report on a very much a cash basis type of reporting. So you don't have receivables, you don't record your capital assets, your long-term debt. You won't see that within this report. So just want to point that out. It's a little bit different than what you might see with other cities, but it is allowable under Kansas statute. So just want to mention that. As far as the operations go, your general fund still has a pretty steady cash balance from the prior year. It's a little bit over $1 million as of the end of the year, so it's staying fairly flat. The activity, you did issue a couple bonds, a 2025 bond and then a temporary note for about $8 million. So that activity did increase a little bit from the prior year, but from an expense standpoint, very much in line with budget. So nothing over, no funds over budget, which is certainly something that you want to see within these reports. Other than the statements themselves, we also issue a management letter. So we go through all your processes, look at your internal controls, things like that. So this year, I do want to just point out a couple items, actually 3 items that I'll mention here. You do have a relatively small finance team. So anytime that there is maybe a vacancy in a position or an extended illness, your city clerk, Angie, will step in to do those jobs. From an accounting perspective, we like to see separations of duties, right? People who have access to the cash aren't also the ones recorded. But when you have some of those vacancies and illnesses, sometimes somebody has to step in to do that work. So I want to point out that that is something that we noticed this year. You do have reviews in place to help catch if there's any issues or any fraud. We also made some suggestions that management's going to consider as well. But again, just want to point out that that was something that we found during our audit process this year. We did have 2 entries from our audit. One has to do with the fact that I think you're now on your 3rd vendor who takes care of your healthcare claims. One of those was not of your choosing. You were kind of forced into that position. But anytime you have some of that turnover, it's sometimes difficult to get the information that we need to complete our audit. And Angie has I'll call it a fun time getting that information as well at times. Now that you've settled on one, I'm hoping in the future we're not going to have this delay on getting some of the information from the vendors. But just because of that, we did have an entry as a result of the vendor that you had previously. And then the last item, you did change you have a relatively new accounting system. And so every time that you have a new system, new processes will come into play. Maybe things that were automated in the prior system, they're more manual this year. And that's the situation that the city is in right now, specifically around how encumbrances are recorded. It's a very manual process. You really have to kind of dig into the details to review that. We did have an entry associated with that process here this year, but again, management's aware and they've got steps in the process to help mitigate that going forward in the future. So with that covers my prepared remarks. I will stand for questions.
Are there any questions? Councilman Walters.
Yes, the attachment in our package is 429. That probably doesn't mean anything to you. On quantitative analysis that lists misstatements. I wonder if you or someone could speak to that.
Absolutely, yes, yeah. Those 2 misstatements have to do with the vendor that used to track your healthcare claims. So since there was such a delay in getting that information, we didn't have it till probably early June, or I guess late May, early June. And so since we didn't have it, obviously the city didn't have it either, so we proposed an entry associated with that. So that was one of the entries. The other one has to do with the manual process on your encumbrances. So it's tracked in Excel right now because your new system doesn't automate that maybe like it used to. The process changed, right, a little bit. And so since that's a very manual process, sometimes things can get missed, but that's specifically what we're referring to on that other adjustment. But again, the city team is aware of that, so looking at ways to improve that going forward. But those were the 2 entries.
Thank you.
Councilman Myers.
Thank you for that presentation. With the moving to the new processes we're doing with the Excel spreadsheet, are we now looking at not using the Excel spreadsheet anymore, or are we going to continue using the Excel spreadsheet? Is there another option that's more automated with checks in place?
Yeah, so I would say in the past when we did encumbrances, we tracked everything by spreadsheet. We entered the expenditure in December as we should when it was an expense that had already been approved or something that we knew we were going to get a bill for that we hadn't received the bill because we already had the service done in that year. So we would post them all there, follow all through with Excel. The issue, I believe this time, and Angie can provide any input as well, came with using the new system and how it posts things. But yeah, we are well aware of the issue, and encumbrances overall are a very easy concept. So I have no problem with it going forward. We'll make sure it's right this next year.
There was more of a hiccup transitioning?
Yes,
really was
for sure.
That was the root cause of it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions? I don't see any.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next we have consideration of the facade grant program for Broadway.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As requested at the last meeting, you have before you the Broadway corridor facade grant. The guidelines and parameters for this are very similar to the program we had offered earlier this year, except this one will only be open to commercial and industrial businesses located on Broadway or within 300 feet of Broadway corridor. Maximum award will be $5,000 again. We will have a 50-50 match. I can stand for any questions.
Councilman Myers?
I just want to thank the mayor and city staff for knocking this out and getting it done so quickly. It's awesome that we can, have a meeting and then the following meeting get it on the table and to be approved. So I appreciate the work. I don't really have any questions. With that, I make a motion to approve for the facade grant as proposed.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the facade grant program for Broadway as proposed, as presented.
Presented.
Any discussion? Question, please.
Brewster.
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Burton.
Yes.
Hewer.
Yes.
Clothier. Yes. Parton.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Awesome.
So I didn't get to say that we will start advertising for this tomorrow. Applications will be open August 1st through the 31st, and then win the award in September.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Georgie. All right, Will, you're up. Item C, presentation of 2027 budget, approval of notice to exceed revenue neutral rate, and publication of notice of public hearings.
We hope so.
In the packet, there's a memo going over some of the key points. I've also got a presentation here. I'll try not to give you death by PowerPoint, but that's kind of what it looks like at this point. So Alan can start the slideshow. Next slide, please. We'll look at the mill levy comparison with the previous year. We'll look at the mill rate history for the city over the last 20 or so years. Look at the difference in assessed valuation from last year to this year. Look at the city sales tax and our estimate for that for the coming year. Go over a couple items on personnel detail over the last few years, including next year's proposed. Go over some of the capital projects that are in the proposed 2027 budget. Look at a snapshot of debt service at June 30th of this year, plus the principal that's being paid off later in this year. Go over next steps, answer any questions you might have, and if there's something during the presentation that you have a question about at that point, please go ahead and ask at that point. And then I'll provide a sample motion if you're satisfied with the budget as it's presented or proposed today. The mill levy comparison. Basically, this is in the council packet, so if it's not coming through really good right there for reading, you guys can see it in the packet. The 2026 budget, last year when it was approved, you can see the mill rate was 30.343 mils with our final assessed valuation from the county, which comes out in November. That went up slightly, so it lowered the certified mill rate down to 40.341. The proposed mill rate going for 2027 budget is 39.685, a reduction of 0.656 mils. As you can see there, each individual mill levy fund, if you're not aware, we've got 5 mill levy funds. The general fund is the largest one. Law enforcement and library are both set right now. Law enforcement's 2 mils, library is 5.25 mils. For the other 3, general fund, special liability, and debt service, we take a look at the estimated carryover going into next year, estimated revenues for next year. We add those up, subtract estimated expenditures, and that comes up with the total amount that we'll need to levy for those funds to support the services of the city in those funds. So if you have any questions on that, I can answer those. If not, we'll go on to the next slide. This one just shows a representation of our mill rate. So you can see on the far left side, that's 2007. Far right side is the proposed 2027. It's labeled 2026 because the tax year is 2026 that supports the 2027 budget. So you see the mill rate was between 48 and 49 mils for years and years and years. And at this point, we've got it lowered to under 40 mils with the proposed budget, between 39 and 40 mils. The next one's gonna be even harder to read maybe, so Tony's got a handout, which he can hand out to all the council members. This one just shows a comparison. Everything that's listed on here, we've got all the cities in the county. We've also got Sedgwick County and Sedgwick County Fire District number 1. This shows 2016 tax year through the 2025 tax year, because I don't have information for the proposed budgets for all these entities for this next year. That's why this one ends on 2025. What it's showing is the mill rate in each of those entities. What I'd like to point out on this one is over the last 10 years, 9 years, if you go from 16 to 25, we reduced the mill rate by 17%. And over that time, within the county, we've lowered ours more than anybody else, 17%. With the proposed mill rate for the 2026 tax year to support the 2027 proposed budget, if we look at that, add that in, we'd be at an 18.37 mill rate reduction since the 2016 tax year. And I would also point out, each city has its own governing body, and those governing bodies represent their constituency, and they set their mill rate accordingly. So this is not a negative on any other city, it's just showing where we're at compared to them on mill rate. Next slide shows our assessed valuation. Our final valuation at 2025 in November was $99,386,829. The 2026 mid-year valuation is $107 million, for an increase of $7,768,000 or 7.82%. And so this is maybe what you would see as a more of a normal thing over the last 3 or 4 years. But if you've been around for a while, you may remember between 2008 and 2016, those tax years, our assessed valuation increased by a total of 0.19%. So there have been years where there's no increase, or in that case, 8 years where there was basically no increase to what we have now, which you see a substantial, in my opinion, 7.82 is a good increase. City sales tax is shown on the next slide. Our estimate for 2027 is going to be the same as it was for 2026. I do send out those reports to council each month, and if you've seen those, you've seen that it's coming in pretty well. Also on those, it's not a January through June and double it, because you can tell if you look at the history of that in different months in the second half of the year, it comes in higher than others. One of the big ones you'll see in September is from July 4th fireworks sales. You'll see in September that number is going to go very high. So, and then some back to school sales or shopping in August also goes into the October number that we get. So if you look at that or you have any questions on those, you can ask me. But yeah, that slide got messed up. The tax reduction, I'll just go over all of those. The estimate for 2027 is 1.38 million. Half of that goes to streets, 690,000. 40% goes to park and rec, 552,000. The major expense still out of park and rec is going to be payment for the activity center through 2035 at around $275,000 per year. And the property tax reduction is 10% of that, 138,000. And with the current valuation of 107 million, which then if you divide it by 1,000, you get the value of a mill, which is 107,000. So if you divide that out, 138,000 is 1.288 mills with the new valuation. All right, next one, personnel detail. This is just a brief history. In 2024, we had the conclusion of a compensation and benefits study. And in 2024, in May, council went ahead and approved the new pay chart, which went away from what we previously had, where we had basically a line for every position within the city. The pay chart as it currently is and as it was approved in 2024 has 19 pay bands, generally with a 6.5% separation between band and 15 steps per pay band. So when somebody hires in, generally we'll hire them in depending on experience, but if they have no experience, for example, they would hire in at a step 1, they'd have their 6-month performance evaluation. If that was satisfactory, then they'd move to step 2. And so every step is 3% higher than the previous. So that's how the current pay chart is, 19 pay bands and 15 steps. In 2024, in July, we did have
you have a question?
Yep, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Have we updated it since 2024? Are we still on that same chart?
At this point, it's the same.
Okay.
And so in a minute, I'll talk about what I'd like to do with that.
Sorry, yeah.
No, you're fine.
Yeah.
So in July of 2024, we did have performance evaluations, and we did have a satisfactory, if you had a satisfactory performance evaluation, you did receive a step increase in July of 2024. Next slide is just going to say the same thing for 2025 and 26. That's what we budgeted there based on what the performance or what the salary and benefits study was talking about. But in 2027's proposed budget, we have a cost of living adjustment, which would be effective in the first full pay period in January. And the way that we calculate that is we look at all non-exempt positions. We take the lowest and highest paid, look at step one, average those out, take the cost of living, the change in CPI over that time frame from the previous 12 months, which was 4.25%, average out the highest and lowest of the non-exempt positions, and we come up with a calculation of what that would be. It came out at 98 cents. So what's in the proposed budget is an increase of 98 cents to step one of every pay band on the pay chart. And as the pay chart goes, the next step is 3% higher increase all the way. So if you get to step 15, depending on rounding, it's going to be like $1.48 to $1.50 on step 15 if anybody's there. So that'd be the pay increase they would see. So what that does, if you look at the entire budget, including non-mill levy funds, that's a $221,000 total increase across all personnel lines and all funds. The impact to mill levy funds is $167,000, which is 1.565 mils. And then just basic information from the Consumer Price Index, the CPIU, the urban. It increased 4.25% for the 12 months ending in May. The June number's not out yet. I looked for that today. The index, according to the CPIU, for all items except food and energy advanced 2.9% over the year. The food index increased 3.1%, and the energy index rose 23.5% for the 12 months ending in May, which all came out to the 4.25% increase in CPIU over the last 12 months. If you look at the cost of living adjustment that's in the proposed budget, if you just average the increase, which is shown in step one across all pay bands, the average increase is 4%. For anybody that's in a lower pay band, the increase is obviously a higher percent. Anybody that's in a higher paying pay band, the increase is a lot lower. But it's the same dollar amount across the board. And that will roll, what we call roll the pay chart. So the entire pay chart would then be affected when we come back in September. If council is good with this, then we'll also have we'll have the adjustment to the pay chart since it's part of the personnel manual, which council also approves. Next part of this slide is the salary survey. I'd like to work on one of those early next year because it'd be 3 years since the last one we did. Basically, I think we can do this in-house. We've done several in-house prior to the last one we did, and we can use similar methodology to what the contractor used in 2024. But then we would have that ready to use for the 2028 budget process. So that's what I would like to do. And I'm of course open to any input from council on that.
Go ahead, doing good.
Okay. Next slide. I'm just going to go over some of the capital projects that we've got in the 2027 budget. And the first few, I run basically a capital improvements cash flow that the mayor and I can review and staff can review for different projects that we know that we're going to end up doing. So we can see current balance in capital improvements, Fund 36, estimated revenues for the rest of the year, estimated expenditures for the rest of the year. And there are projects in there that we know of, like the sidewalk projects that we have, the larger street projects, like the next big one that we have is Meridian between 71st and 79th. And that one was a great project where we got 80% federal funding for the construction of the project. So items like that are in Fund 36. So these next couple I'm going to talk about, based on what I've looked at now, it looks like we can do them. I'm also going to need to follow the revenues throughout the rest of the year to make sure that we can do these. All the solar ones that I'm talking about doing, we'd want to get those done prior to the end of 2027 so we could get the investment tax credit, which would be significant savings on all of these. First item I've got on here is City Hall roof replacement and City Hall solar. In the 2026 budget, we had $55,000 for repairs to the City Hall roof. So at this point, what I've got is taking those out of the 2026 budget and budgeting the 2027 budget to actually do a replacement of the roof here. And one of the main reasons of this is Tony Martinez, Public Works Director, and I, we've been meeting with different solar vendors, but basically from what we understand, from what they told us, if we have a cost to repair the roof at City Hall, for example, and then we get a cost for replacement of it, and we use a certain type of roofing, which they talked about using a TPO roof. It'd be a reflective type surface, which is also a impervious surface, of course, is a roofing material, but it'd be one that would be looked at with the program for adding solar, where it actually benefits the solar installation because it's reflective. So the solar panels can take light from on both sides. So it'd be an improvement that's looked at as a part of the solar installation. So basically, the difference between what it would take to repair and what it would take to replace the roof, we can get a 30% reduction in the difference there. That's why we'd be looking at doing the replacement at this point in time. So that's what I'm looking at in the 2027 budget. Also listed on this slide is solar for the police department. And I'm going to go over some of the details on this with the investment tax credit. So for the City Hall solar, the investment tax credit would be $57,000. So it'd be a net cost of $86,000 for the install of solar. So the estimated payback period would be 9.96 years. Previously, we looked at this in 2023. What we got at that time from a vendor, they looked at all of our utility bills just like they do, and they said our payback for City Hall would be 17 years. And I'm not an expert on the solar panels, so I don't know what difference there has been in the technology as to why those came back so different 3 years ago versus now. But a payback of 9 years, much better than the 17 years. On the police department, the investment tax credit would be $67,000 for a net cost of $101,000 and a payback of 9.19 years. On the next slide, I've got activity center. Solar installation would be $317,000 with an investment tax credit of $127,000 for a net cost of $190,000. Estimated payback period 9.42 years. The number one concern that Tony and myself and probably every other department head has is are we going to stick a bunch of holes in a roof? So some of the vendors that we've talked to, they've talked about their different methods that they have to install solar on roofs without making perforations at all. Now, the one we did talk to said, we would like to, if you put out an RFP, we don't want you to put out an RFP where you say no perforations. We would like the electrical to come in on the inside of the building versus on the outside where it's going to be, potential for issues with, and they didn't say vandalism, but there's always that potential, but also appearance of the different buildings. So that'd be the thing. If we can get solar installed with this investment tax credit, and we can make sure that we don't put extra holes in our roofs, then I think it's a good way to go. But of course, I'm open for any questions and input at this point in time.
We have kept checking on this because, like you said, a couple of years ago, it was definitely a different story as far as payback. Councilman Myers.
Yeah, absolutely. The panels have come a long way. Bifocal panels where both sides are working for you, and then the inverters have came a little while. In volume of production, you get cheaper cost, right, and better efficiency. So my question is, at what point would we ever pull a bond for stuff like this? Like, let's say you wanted to do a bigger project. So with a 10-year bond and a 10-year payoff, is that an option, I guess, is the question.
I would say we'd have to recalculate the numbers on the payback period if we did a financing of it.
Because they're
right now, the 30-year bond is like 4.6%. If we pay cash, we don't have any interest costs. So if we want to look at doing anything with financing, then it'll change the payback period, but I haven't done any of those calculations.
It would push it out because it's interest. Okay, yeah, it does. Not free money, right? Okay. That was my only question. Thank you. Thank you for looking into all that. That's great. I'm glad we're going that direction and try to get the power bill reduced a little bit. It's pretty serious on some of these buildings, like thousands and thousands of dollars. And if we can mitigate that long term, a lot of these panels nowadays last 40, 50 years. So hopefully we can get a good installer, quality panels, and last a long time. So, thank you.
The next slide I had was on some wastewater projects that are in the wastewater contractual, if you look in the budget there. And Tony will be able to answer any questions on these. I can read them, you can read them, but North Clarifier Rehab in the 2027 proposed budget, the jet vac truck combo, that's Tony, correct me if I'm wrong, that's a lease payment, and that'd be 1 out of 5, was it?
Yeah, this would be lease to own, not like an enterprise thing where we have to release it in 5 years. It'd be lease to own, and then it'd be ours.
And then a new channel for the rotary press dewatering facility. Other ones that we've got on wastewater, we've got cured in place pipe and manhole rehab like we do every year, which basically extends the life of our infrastructure in the ground, and the manholes, get those lined, make them last quite a bit longer. The next one I got listed on there is the Southwest Sanitary Sewer Interceptor Project. This is the one that we would finance, and with the adjustment that City Council made to the sewer fee starting next year. I believe it was in March. I could be wrong, it could be in February. But with that adjustment that's been made, that'll cover the debt service for this project. So that one's listed in there and it will be financed. Water projects, acid washing a well for $30,000, a couple water line replacements, and the next one is a new well field and raw water line. That is, of course, dependent on us getting our approved application for water rights, where we've applied for those. We're just waiting on Division of Water Resources for that approval. And Tony has received an estimate for water lines, the raw water line from that site to Public Works. That's one we would see coming up. Next one is this is just brief. Sidewalks. We know we got the South Main extension going from the Northern Drive into Timber Creek Estates Edition down to the Southern Drive, which we're waiting on the county to do their portion of drainage improvements, and along that section we do the sidewalk at the same time. So neither project hinders the other, but they could both be done and accomplished in an efficient manner there. Streets, already mentioned this one on Meridian. Looking a little further out, we did get approval basically for another street project. It's West Grand, west of Meridian to the city limits. And that would be full reconstruction of that road segment into a, Tony, correct me if I'm wrong, 4-lane with sidewalks on both sides. We already have sidewalks on the north, at least to Haysville West Middle School. And it would also have drainage improvements in that area. So that's another one where we got federal funding for 80% of the construction. So it really makes those projects a lot easier to handle.
So that's gonna widen it, you're saying, right? You're gonna go from 2 to 4 lanes?
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, that really gets congested over there during drop off.
Meridian's 3, West Grand would be 4. Yep.
4, okay, cool.
Next slide, I've got some information on debt service. This is basically just showing our general obligation bond principal at June 30th. It's $10,750,000. Our 2026 principal payment's going to be $820,000, which would leave us with $9,930,000 June of next year. As Michael Gerber mentioned, with Forvis Mazars, we do have the one temporary note out on the Lakefield edition. So depending on when that one goes from temporary financing to permanent financing, it would increase this by that amount of that project, which that project's listed on the next page. Temporary notes as of June 30th, 2026, $2,705,000 for Lakefield edition. That project, I think, came in under that, so that's always a good thing. Next page shows our activity center, which was financed using certificates of participation. Right now, we've got a balance of $2,225,000 principal. Our payment this year will knock $185,000 off that, leaving us at $2,040,000. Final payment on the activity center is due November 1st, 2035. So we're more than halfway. The next steps, and of course, if you guys have any questions on budget, please ask them today. The next steps, if you're accepting of the proposed budget, we would need to, based on state statute regarding the revenue neutral rate laws, we would need to inform the Sedgwick County Clerk of the intent to exceed the revenue neutral rate via motion, and I would send her a certificate stating that. The motion, we would state the intent to exceed the revenue neutral rate. We would include the date, time, and location of the revenue neutral rate public hearing, and we would state the proposed tax rate. After that, I would publish the notice of public hearings in the newspaper and on the website. The state budget document that they create now has a combined notice of public hearing, so it would be one notice of public hearing for both public hearings. They would both be during this regular September council meeting. During that council meeting, we would hold the revenue neutral rate hearing. During that public hearing, before it's closed, we would adopt a resolution by roll call vote to exceed the revenue neutral rate. We would then close that hearing. We would then hold the regular budget hearing. We would then adopt the budget. What I'm asking you today is to basically give me the right to inform the county that we're going to intend to exceed the revenue neutral rate. Also give me the go ahead to publish the notice of public hearing. Once that's published, that would set the maximum total dollars that could be levied based on that publication. If the total could be adjusted down but not up after the publication, if we wanted to then adjust it up for some reason, you'd have to make another give me authority to publish a higher amount, and that would have to be published more than 10 days before that September council meeting. So we've never done that. I'm just saying, once we once we publish that notice of public hearing, that sets the max total dollars we could levy for next year's budget. The last slide, that can be read, okay, good. This is a sample motion. If you are okay with the budget as proposed, you could simply read this motion to approve the intent to exceed the revenue neutral rate, set the revenue neutral rate public hearing and budget hearing for Monday, September 14th, 2026 at 7 p.m. at City Hall, and state the proposed tax rate to be 39.685 mils as presented tonight. The whole budget timeline, in case you're interested. July 20th is the last day to notify the county clerk of an intent to levy above the revenue neutral rate. The public hearings would need to be between August 20th and September 20th. The publication needs to happen at least 10 days prior to the revenue neutral rate hearing on the newspaper and website, if we have a website that has that is maintained and has public legal notices, which we do. As I already mentioned, the resolution would need to be passed during the revenue neutral rate hearing at the conclusion of public comment, but before the hearing is closed. The roll call vote would be recorded and submitted with the budget documents, even if the resolution fails. By October 1st, the governing body would need to certify the budget to the county clerk. And that's all I've got on the budget timeline. Do you guys have any questions on any of it?
Councilman Myers?
Thank you for the presentation, Will. So just for clarity's sake, because I'm new to all this, so exceeding the net revenue neutral rate, that's just meaning that we are spending a little bit more money than we're taking in, but we have the money, right? Because we have fund balance.
So the revenue neutral rate is legislation that was passed a few years ago where representatives at the state level are trying to just impose more restrictions on local government than I believe is necessary, because each local government has council members that are represented, or commissioners, because this impacts counties as well, or cities that have commissioners instead of councilors. So basically, the state wanted to say, if any city wants to levy even $1 more than they did the previous budget year, they would need to say, and by roll call vote, so it puts every council member on record saying they were okay with raising the taxes, right?
Spending more money.
So that's what they want to do.
Okay.
And within that, there's basically no allowance for growth of a city.
Mhm.
So if a city grew by 100 homes, for instance, they would not be able to, basically they would be forced to reduce their tax rate unless they say they're exceeding the revenue neutral tax rate.
Gotcha.
So basically, any time that we would want to increase by even $1,
Yeah.
we would have to go through this process. And it's all state, it's all because of the state, but I believe that cities elect council members to serve a purpose. And as I mentioned earlier in the presentation, each city has different ideas as to what they want to see, what they want to do. Say a city wants to add park equipment, but they don't have, maybe like we do, we have fireworks sales permits, and a lot of that goes in, that all goes from the general fund where it's recorded into the park reserves. And then we use some of that for fireworks display and others for improvements to parks. So say an entity doesn't have that, they might want to raise their general fund mill levy to install some sort of equipment. Everybody in town may be on board, but now the state says to that city, you have to say you're exceeding the revenue neutral rate. You have to act like you're bad guys to be able to operate how you want to operate. So that's a little more than you wanted probably.
Well, and then it just leads to all this having to do a lot of extra admin work for council and for you. Okay, cool, thank you.
Just another government overreach. State tried to come down on cities where you know we should have home rule.
Yeah.
It's
And they're trying to rule on us.
Yeah.
basically. Okay.
Don't give the employees raises, don't pay your higher utility bills or anything like that.
I talk about this every time I go to Topeka.
Yeah, good.
Home rule. Councilman Walters.
If there are no other questions, I thank you again, Will, for your exciting presentation. I make a motion that we allow him to go ahead and notify the county to exceed the revenue neutral rate as listed in the sample motion.
Would you mind
reading it?
Reading it word for word?
I move to approve our intent to exceed the revenue neutral rate set the revenue neutral rate public hearing and budget hearing from Monday, September 14, 2026 at 7 p.m. at City Hall, and state the proposed tax rate to be 39.685 mils as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to put that back up. Alan.
There you go.
We have a motion and a second to approve our intent to exceed the revenue neutral rate, setting the revenue neutral rate public hearing and budget hearing for Monday, September 14th, 2026 at 7 p.m. here at City Hall. And the proposed tax rate will be 39.685 mils as presented. Any discussion? Question, please.
Brewster.
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Burton.
Yes.
Ewert.
Yes.
Collier.
Yes.
Parton.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, next we have item 7, department reports. A, administrative services. Georgia.
A couple announcements, just a reminder, Hometown Market is open again this Saturday from 8 to noon. They always have lots of activities going on over there. This Saturday, I believe, is summer soak, so they'll have some water activities going on for kids, and then, of course, the market. Secondly, the Citizen of the Year application is open for this year. This is our award that we present at Fall Festival. There is a link on the post out there on the webpage. There is paper forms available here at City Hall. Those are due by July 31st. So if you know someone that volunteers in the community, please fill one out and get their application submitted for that. Lastly, the Kansas League of Municipalities is offering a social media and the First Amendment training available for staff and city council. I know this was sent out, but if anyone is interested in signing up for that, please get a hold of Will and let him know. We can get you signed up for that. It is on July 23rd from 11 to noon. If you do register for it, you will be sent the live recording if you can't attend the meeting at that time. So that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Next we have city clerk, Angie. Police, chief.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The only thing we have tonight is reminding everybody to invite everybody to come out on August 4th over at the pool for a national night out. We'll be starting at 6 o'clock, so bring the family. We'll have some food out there. The pool will be open at night at no charge, so bring the family, bring your swimsuits, and everybody come out and have a good time. Meet your police officers and your neighbors. Also, our visiting officer this evening is Officer Palima. He's assigned to our 3rd shift detail, so say hi to him as you go by out there. And that's all we've got. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Councilman Brewster.
Chief, I just wanted to say thank you. I know we had an incident in our ward a couple weeks back, and everybody did a really good job. I know for a little bit that time was, maybe for some neighbors, was a little bit stressful seeing a helicopter fly around, but I appreciate the officers and what they did and what tools they have to apprehend suspects. So.
And it wasn't just officers from here. It was, we had the
Yeah,
county
Derby,
involved, we had Derby
Highway
involved,
Patrol, yeah.
Highway Patrol, they were all out
No,
here.
and it was a great team effort.
Yeah, it was, and we're very thankful to have those close partners around here that we can use or call at a moment's notice to come out and help us apprehend the bad guys like that.
Thank you. I echo his remarks.
All right, next, Public Works, Tony.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So the Recycling Center at Public Works will be open on Saturday, July 25th from 10 a.m. to noon. And also our contractor for the 2026 street program has tentatively communicated they will be in town starting our projects on July 20th. It is of course dependent on them finishing current projects. When we have a more definitive schedule, we'll post on our social media pages so it's known to everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, Tony. Next, Recreation, Rob.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The Haysville Activities Center is currently taking registrations for latchkey, youth soccer, and youth volleyball. July is Parks and Rec Month, so we have a number of free activities in our parks. Tomorrow from 7 to 8 p.m. there'll be at the splash pad over by the pool. On Saturday we'll be at Dorner Park from 9 a.m. to 12 for fishing, pickleball, and food trucks and snow cones. Orchard Acres on July 21st. And Plagens Comforter on the 28th. Those Tuesday nights events are from 7 to 8, and the pool will close for the season on August 9th. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Rob. All right, next we have item 8, appointments. The appointment of Jacob Mendez to the Planning Commission for the remainder of the term. Councilperson Parton.
Make a motion, we approve the appointment of him to the Planning Commission.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to allow the appointment of Jacob Mendez to the Planning Commission for the remainder of the term. Any discussion? Question, please.
Brewster,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Hubert,
Yes.
Clothier,
Yes.
Barton,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, next we have item 9, executive session. We have none scheduled. Item 10, review of expenditures. A, summary of June expenditures. Councilperson Hebert.
I move to receive and file the June expenditures.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to receive and file the June expenditures. Is there any discussion? Questions, please?
Brewster,
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Hubert,
Yes.
Clothier,
Yes.
Barton,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Item 11, the consent agenda. We have one item on the consent agenda. Councilperson Barton.
Make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any discussion? Question, please.
Brewster,
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Hubert,
Yes.
Clothier,
Yes.
Barton,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, next item 12, council items. A, council concerns. Councilmember Myers.
Yeah,
No, you have concerns.
with consideration that the live stream is not working, I'm just going to table this till next month.
Any other council members have concerns?
I have another topic. Tony, thank you for taking care of the bridge on Meridian, or having Frederick County. There was a tree growing on the north side of Meridian and some shrubs and whatnot, and I reached out to Tony, he reached out to the county, and they took care of it like within a day or two. So just, if you could pass on the word to them that we appreciate their quick response and, everything that they do for the county, so.
Councilman Brewster?
I'm just curious why we're not discussing this. I think our staff and everybody is, just because it's not on YouTube right now, it's gonna be recorded, so I don't understand. I don't understand what the reasoning is. A lot of us have spent a lot of time looking at this and done a lot of research.
Yeah.
I spent my vacation, I spent yesterday all day researching this, so.
I think it would just be a lot more effective if there was a live stream working, and that's
Okay.
just the decision that I've made, and I hope
Because
you
you're an
respect that.
influencer, is that why?
Because I care what the public visibility of this council is.
It's gonna
and
be
I think that
recorded,
people
though.
should. Yes, I know. So that's just my decision. If you want to talk, you can talk all you want about it. I mean, I'm not going to stop you from talking.
Okay.
All right, any other council concerns? If not, we will move on to item B, council action request updates.
I got a few updates for you. So first up, 1324 Cottonwood Lane. Property was investigated, is in violation of city code. Notices were sent to the property owner on July 7th. 1100 East Grand. This was currently an open case. Violations notices were sent on July 2nd. 1140 East Grand was also already an open case. Violation notices were sent on July 2nd. And then 1206 East Grand, upon investigation, the property is in violation of city code. Notices were sent on July 7th. And an update from Chief on Pear Tree Park. The tent has been removed and the case is considered closed. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Tony. All right, next we have item 13, adjournment.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion, we adjourn.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn tonight's meeting. Any discussion? Question, please.
Brewster,
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Hubert, Clothier. Yes. Barton,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Thanks everybody in the audience for sticking it out for a 2-hour meeting, one of our longer meetings.